Merry Christmas from Richard to you, from Richard in Thailand to you. And I jump right in. I am wearing a jacket here. We have this crazy weather pattern from China, down from China weather. For the last like 4 or 5 days, been windy and what you would consider cold in Thailand, which would be, you know, down in the lower 70s to maybe high 60s. But when you're used to like 80s and 90s all the time with high humidity, it does feel good. So I went out for some food and I was on the motorbike with the wind and everything. It gets chilly, so I was an Australian friend of mine here in the building down in the garage. When I get on the motorcycle, he was getting on his. He was like, or maybe he's English. I can't remember because he said the weather was lovely, you know. And a lot of Brits say that it makes them feel like home, I guess, when it gets cloudy and crappy. And I'm like, no, I really like the heat. Actually, I thrive on it. But I was telling him, I wore this jacket the last time in Chiang Mai in February of 2020 when I got here almost 4 years ago. Anyway, so I was saying the video is, it's Christmas Eve here, December 24th, which means you folks in the U.S. are just now waking up for your Christmas Eve day, as we'd always call it. My family was unique. My dad's a German immigrant, and so his side of the family, the Europeans tend to celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve night, and my mom's side of the family, Christmas Day is the thing, right? So as kids growing up, we always had like two celebrations: Dad's side of the family, Christmas Eve, and then our family with my mom's side on Christmas Day, Christmas dinner, and all that. So, anyway, for all you at home, Merry Christmas. Now you're going to hate the rest of the video. You're going to hate the rest of the video because the subject is, well, you got it from the title, I Won't Be Home for Christmas. And it's one of the most frequent questions I get asked, other than when are you going to visit back home? And the other one is, are you going home for the holidays? Because some of my friends are. They've been expats here for years and years, but they came later in life, and I'm going to try to tell you why it's not a big deal to me. And I'm taking nothing away from the family time. I love it. Last time I was there was 4 years ago, the Christmas of 2019 and New Year's Eve of 2020. And 2 weeks later, I left for Thailand, January 14th, I believe it was, out of SFO, and I have not been back. So just closing in on here, 3 weeks, it'll be 4 years I've been here. So anyway, I was thinking, what's my history? So I graduated from high school in 1979, and that summer, the end of that summer, I drove myself at 18 years old from Portland, Oregon to Chattanooga, Tennessee, just pretty close to 3,000 miles in 2.5 days myself, and for my first year of college at Tennessee Temple University, a Baptist Bible college, if you can believe that. So, given my mouth and my antics here, 50 years later, or 45 years later, let's say, 48, something like that. So, but, that was the first time I experienced any sort of homesickness, and it was rather severe. And I can still think back to it, and I'm like, how remarkable it is, that first time you cut away from the apron strings, so to speak. And so I keep looking down because I made a list of all the years that I was away for Christmas. So now, and it was very, very important to me. So my parents bought an airplane ticket. And, I flew from Chattanooga to Atlanta on a small plane, and then I still remember it. Eastern Airlines Lockheed L-1011, wonderful aircraft. My first wide body flight, and that went from Atlanta to Seattle to Portland, where my parents picked me up. And the way back was the reverse, Portland to Seattle to Atlanta. Anyway, so I did get back for Christmas that time, but by the end of the year, I was kind of over the homesickness deal. Nonetheless, I was at home for Christmas all through 80, 81, 82, 83, all through my college, because I came home and I went to Oregon State, all of that. So fast forward to October of '84. I'm out of school, both university and all the Navy schools. And October of '84, I take a flight out to eventually landing at Clark Air Force Base and taking a bus to Subic Navy Base to pick up my first ship. And in all 5 years I was in Japan, 84, 85, 86, 87, and 88, 5 years, 5 Christmases, we were in Port Yokosuka for every single one of them, but I was not at home. So I just got used to just being by myself at Christmas. Ironically, there's one thing worse than not being home for Christmas and being alone for Christmas. Do you know what it is? It's going to somebody else's family Christmas gathering. I'll never do that again. That was in '88. That was in Japan, and so one of the officers said, "Hey, we're having a blah blah blah," and I went over. It's okay. It's okay, but for us, Thanksgiving and Christmas, family time is sacrosanct. Over those years, people come and go. There's births, there's deaths, there's marriages, there's divorces. Children leave home. Those sorts of things. But that moves slowly over time, so you don't really perceive it. You always feel like you are intimately familiar with this whole thing every single time, every single year, and it's that continuity of it that really I think gets to the heart and soul of the matter. So there's 5 years now that I'd spent away from home, and by then I was in my 20s, so I was over it. I really was. I just compartmentalized it. Yeah, it's great. I'd love to be home, but it just wasn't a big deal. And I'm gonna have to do another one of these on New Year's Eve to explain what I think about New Year's Eve. So I'm not going to go into there, right? All right. So now, what about? I didn't realize this until I made this list. So we get to 1989. I had just finished French school, preparing to go to France for 2 years to be an exchange officer with the French Navy. And what did I do? Well, when I had left the 7th Fleet staff on Blue Ridge, they were in Manila, and I had hopped a flight. I had a month of leave before the French school started. This was in April of '89. So I came over here. I hopped a ride on the Admiral's P3 from Manila to Bangkok, and I spent a month here in April of '89, and this is where I met Keith Braddock, a friend of mine to this day. He's married to a girl in Philippines. He just retired from his job in UK within the last year in England, and moved there. He has a daughter. It's like 18 now or something. And back then, when I met him, we traipsed around for a month here. I told him, I said, Keith, you ought to go to the Philippines. Check it out. Well, and so I am the source of that issue right there for him. So anyway, Keith and I came and kept in touch. In fact, he was on on a round the world trip, and while I was at French school, he stopped in Monterey for a couple days. That was in basically summer of '89, and we made arrangements. So after French school, before I would go to France, this was in December, and I had a month between. And what did I do? I flew out here. So I spent this Christmas of '89 right down there on the beach, right? A month. And then I didn't realize it till now, but I went to France, and for that first year, I was there, and Keith and I had kept in touch, right? And he was headed back here. And lo and behold, I bought a ticket, Bangladesh Airways from Paris through Dhaka, Bangladesh, to Bangkok. And I came out here for the Christmas and New Year's of 1990. So I spent 2 Christmases in a row right down there, 1989 and 1990. I didn't realize that till tonight. Right. Then 91, I was in France for Christmas, and I immediately left France, and I left the Navy at the same time that spring. I started a business that was going well, and so that year was the first time I had been at home for Christmas since, let's see, that would be not even, so it'd be the first time I've been home for Christmas, 6-7 years, right? Very first time. 92. Then what happens in 93? I go to France. I decided to take some vacation and start a business, take vacation, and I went to France, but part of it was to see this chick. Here we go again. And it didn't work out, and so I cut my trip short. I ended up flying back to the States on Christmas Day. So my dad picked me up at San Francisco SFO on the afternoon of Christmas Day of Christmas 1993. And from then on, I would spend every Christmas at home, either my home or Beatrice's, my ex-wife's home, one or the other, for the next, through 2019. 2019 was the last, so that's like, that is like almost, that's like 28 years. 28 years of solid Christmas at home. So I think I've done my duty. I've done my time being with family, and it's not that I don't like to be there. It's not that I'm like, it's not like I eschew it or anything, whatever. I love the experience, but it's not something that's so compelling that I just, it would be not much different than going back for any old reason, and frankly, I just don't need snow anymore or cold. So I would be more in tune to visit like in the spring or summer or fall, something like that. And so that's a lot of years away from Christmas. I didn't add them up, but then so 2020, 2020, 21, 22, 23. So this is the 4th year away after, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4. So I spent 12, 13 years away from home for Christmas. It's not a big deal. You can do it. All right. Merry Christmas anyway, and have a great week. Get your time in between Christmas and New Year's. Your downtime. I hope you all have it. And I'm doing my blog series. I'm a few posts behind my pace of 2 a day. I'll try to catch up. And so stop in freetheanimal.com and check that out. Trying to do a variety of stuff. So, and I've got some requests for stuff, and there's some stuff I owe out there. Thank you for the memberships, especially the lifetimes. The lifetime deal. Okay, it's going to be $1,000 a year, but right now it's $350 a year, or $350 for life, one time, until the end of this year. Right. So that has been selling very, very nicely. Thank you all. All right. Have a good one.